Okay, so we are now live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to EduMatch. So follow along with us on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. Thank you to everyone for all of your patience. Technical difficulties today with our Restream.io service. They have a glitch going on, so it took us a little while to figure it out. But thank you to Dan for the awesome suggestion to go straight to YouTube. So for the Periscope viewers, then we'll catch you on the flip side. But speaking of EduMatch, if you want to be the featured person of the day, then just check out edumatch.org, and there under Get Connected, there is a sign up form for person of the day. So there's a little bit of a wait, but in the meantime, we'll be tagging you with matches. And in addition to that, we will be tweeting out your blog if we can find the RSS feed. So today we're going to be talking about strategies for grad students, so master's, doctoral students. And on panel, we have some phenomenal people, some phenomenal educators, but we have two moderators for tonight. So we have Amanda and we have Dan. So Amanda, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Amanda Zullo. I'm a former high school chemistry teacher at Saranac Lake High School, 12 years teaching high school chemistry, and now I oversee curriculum and instruction for the state of New York in science. And my interest in this topic really comes from the fact that I have 3 master's degrees, and I'm debating on whether or not to go back and pursue a doctorate and what the advantages and disadvantages of that could be.
Awesome. Well, we are very happy to have you on panel. Great. And then we'll kick it over to our next moderator, Dan.
Hey guys, my name is Dan Kreines. I'm an instructional coach at the middle school level in Connecticut. And I too possess multiple master's degrees in education and educational leadership. And I'm just a little bit over a year into a doctoral program. So I'm not quite at the dissertation phase yet, but I've gone through a bunch of the coursework. And so I have taken that plunge. And that's why this topic is of particular interest to me as well.
All right, awesome. Glad to have you. And now we have our fabulous panelists. So we will go from the way I'm seeing it, it's kind of Brady Bunch-ish. So we'll just go in order down the line. So we'll start first with Dr. Will. If you could please introduce yourself.
Hello, how are you doing? I'm Will D'Amport, affectionately known as Dr. Will. I'm a podcaster, instructional technologist, consultant, and writer. I actually have a doctorate in ed leadership and management. And I actually got my doctorate online. So I don't know how many people here have gotten theirs that way or are pursuing that option. But it was a great experience for me. And I'm here to, I guess, chime in on that experience or any experiences others may have in pursuing the doctorate.
All right, awesome. Glad to have you here, Dr. Will. All right, next we have Dean.
Hey, everybody. My name is Dean Gainey from Orlando, Florida. I am currently a doctoral student pursuing higher education administration in the state of Florida, and Dr. Will, my degree is online as well. And I am a classroom educator in grades 4 and 5. Happy to be here.
And we are happy to have you here as always. So thanks, Dean. And next we're going to go to Rochelle.
Hello, my name is Rochelle Poth. I'm a foreign language and STEAM teacher from outside of Pittsburgh. I've been teaching 20 years and I've been a student for a lot longer than that. I have several different degrees, most recently a master's degree. I have my law degree. So definitely learning. I've considered getting another doctorate. So I'm interested to hear what everybody else has to say. But for right now, I'm good just kind of enjoying some time to learn on my own, at my own terms, I should say.
Awesome. Wow. That is great. That is great. Welcome, Rochelle. Great to have you. All right. Next, we're going to Leslie.
Hello, all. My name is Leslie Fagan. I am an instructional tech coach for the Griffin-Spalding County School District in Griffin, Georgia. I have a master's degree and an awful lot of work on a doctorate, but statistics got me, so I'm on a break for many, many years. At some point, I will go back and finish. But right now I've got my hands full with some other things, and I'm glad to be here sharing some experiences with you all this evening.
All right, it's great to have you here, Leslie. So thank you so much for joining us. Next, we're going to go to Desiree.
Hello, my name is Desiree Alexander, coming to you from Shreveport, Louisiana. I am the instructional technology supervisor for my school district, and I have three master's degrees as well. And I'm in currently, well, three master's degrees and an educational specialist degree. So four upper level degrees, and then I am currently in the doctoral program. My doctoral program is at a brick and mortar school out of Houston, Texas, but the program is online. So I am in an online program, and I don't think I could do it any other way. So I'm happy to be here.
That is awesome. And we are so, so happy to have you. All right, awesome. And last but not least, then we have Martine.
Okay, as soon as you started talking, my started breaking up. So I hope you guys can hear me. I am Martine Brown, and I am the Ready One-to-One instructional coach out in Garland, Texas. I work at Rowlett High School. I literally just finished my master's degree in instructional technology a week ago. So I'm excited to talk and learn and grow with everyone.
That is awesome. Congratulations on that. That is wonderful, Martine. So we are very happy to have you here. All right. So now I'm going to kick it over to our moderators and let them do their thing. So Dan, if you want to go ahead and throw out question one.
Yeah, sure. Listen, we have a lot of degrees and a lot of years of experience, and some of us have recently finished, and some haven't been at this for a while. But I guess what I wanted to throw out to everybody is if you could please share one of your biggest takeaways from any of the degrees that you've gone through, your master's or doctorate. What's one thing that really stuck with you throughout the rest of your time in school or in your actual career, your day-to-day work?
I'm going to go ahead and chime in there first. I don't know if anybody had an answer, but probably the most obvious thing for me is just how important the cohort is, because there are many times where you could feel like you're alone, especially in an online program like I am in, geographically separated from many people. And it's not easy working full time and going to school full time. However, when you have that group of people that you can call and commiserate with, whatever the case may be, it certainly makes it a whole lot easier to get through a program like that and actually feel like you're making gains, because you do sometimes feel like you are by yourself. So that helps to not feel isolated.
I'll jump in if it's okay. This is Desiree. To piggyback on that with a takeaway is definitely to get organized and get organized early. So as soon as you kind of get in to hit the ground running, that first week, you want to do whatever kind of calendar you need to do, print out a calendar, have a planner, just whatever kind of organizational system you want to have for yourself, and just get organized, look at all the syllabi that you need to go through, and just mark everything down. Just get yourself organized. If you put that little work in at the beginning, it's going to help you throughout your program for that semester.
I would say you got to hustle with a capital H. It's the work on that level is intense, particularly the reading and the writing part, and you can't treat that level of work as a hobby. You can't, treat it as I get to it when I get to it, because then you will never get to it. So you always got to think hustle, 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 hustle. I'm in it to win it type of mentality, because if you don't conquer your doctoral program, trust me, it will conquer you.
Just recently, leaving the program, I would say the that I've learned is just that learning really never stops, and just kind of diving into that process. I actually I graduated in '05, and then there was a 10-year gap. The really, other than being a classroom practitioner in the classroom, I would say pretty much as far as being the student in the classroom, that I have that 10-year gap. And so now it's kind of reshaped the idea of learning, and I'm constantly looking to connect to continue my learning beyond my.
Okay, everybody. So that kind of butts up to our next question here. And really, we're looking for some suggestions or strategies. How did you balance your doctoral program studies, your master program studies with other things, such as your family life, such as your duties required by your position? Like, what are some inside tips or suggestions that you may have to help somebody manage all of that?
If I could, I'll jump in again first here. I believe that it's important to have that downtime, and whether that means family or friends, whatever the case may be, I think it's good. Almost like writing something and then having to go back and revise it. You take a break from it and you come back and you're a little bit more able to focus on things. So I found that intentionally making sure that I'm not spending 7 days a week working on something is very important for me, because when I come back, I can put my foot to the fire a little bit more.
I'll jump in now for a second. For me, when I went to law school, it wasn't online at all. I actually had to physically go while teaching full time. It was 4 nights a week for 4 years. And it's funny, whenever people think of like online learning, they think that it's easy, or you do something independent. Oh, it's so easy. You can do that. You've got that online. And people will tend to, I guess, downplay, a lack of a better word, when somebody's getting a degree online. But the fact of the matter is it's that much more intense. And like Dean said, it can feel like you're isolated, because when I got my master's, there was a mix of going to Duquesne University and a lot of it online. And a woman that connected in my cohort and I like got each other through so much of that, because you log in and it's like there's nobody around. And if you have this uncertainty about something, there's really nobody to ask. If you contact the professor, they may or may not answer you the same day, let alone within the same week. So something I've been researching recently is online learning and the importance of developing a social presence and how you can go about doing that, because there is that feeling of isolation. But the one thing I would say, regardless of if you are taking an advanced degree and it's online or it's a hybrid or you're going to the class, you have to, like Dr. Will said, you have to hustle. You have to set up your plan, like when is going to work for you. It's going to be your work period, and when is going to be the time for you to go sit on the deck or to sleep or take a nap, because it's not a joke and it's very time consuming, and obviously it's going to cost a lot of money. But I think that the other thing about it too is if you've made the decision to pursue it, you're probably likely going to push yourself harder, because everybody is kind of looking at you like, well, you already have a degree or you already have a job. Like, why are you doing that? And I think in education, we stand out from others because we do continue to learn. Like, it is lifelong learning, and there's always another degree to get or a certification. So it's not like we stop. Even having these tweet and talks, I mean, we're learning from each other and our experiences. So one other side note, and this goes back to what Leslie said, statistics is probably what's keeping me out of the doctoral program and masters in from masters in technology too. No joke. So anyway, that's just my like 10 cents on that.
I'll jump in. When you're in school, you have to make sure that you are passionate, because like Dr. Will said, things will get in your way. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you'll find a reason to put it aside, and you can't do that. When I was working on my doctorate, I was also doing my gifted endorsement, and my doctorate was at a school down South Georgia. I was working on my ed leadership at a school in West Georgia, and I was doing my gifted endorsement here in town. So it was just like I knew what I wanted, but periodically it's like, okay, Leslie, the end is in sight, the end is in sight. Don't get sidetracked. So just make sure that you're passionate and you've got some cheerleaders. Your friends and family are going to get a little put out periodically because you're not available, but you also need somebody in your corner to say, keep going, keep going, keep going. Because if you don't, you're just going to say, you know what, it's not worth it. But in the end, it will be, and you'll be glad you didn't quit.
So towards the end of getting my master's, I actually started using Google Keep. And I found that to be very helpful as far as just organizing my time and being efficient with my time. And just like I think Dean said that earlier, even planning out or making a to-do list just to have that downtime. I actually, at my house, we're doing pre-K and prom. So my oldest is 17 and my youngest she'll be 2 next week. And so that does offer quite a few challenges. I'm an early bird, so I generally try to get a lot of work done in the morning, but really using that Google Keep, that organ to-do list, and organizing my to-do list really helped, especially towards the end.
So I'm going to go ahead and strike up the next question here. We touched a little bit upon some differences, let's say, between like brick and mortar and online learning. I'm wondering, and even for people like Amanda who may be on the fence, or Rochelle, about, do I want to go into the doctoral program or back into another advanced degree? For those of us who are in or have done doctoral programs, what would you say are the differences between master's and doctoral?
I'll go in. Aside from the dissertation, and some master's programs will require you to do a thesis, but it is going to be the level of research you'll be doing and the level of writing. The level of writing at the doctoral level is next level, and they expect it to be next level. And in fact, I've heard of people who, though they were admitted to the program, once they started turning in papers, they were told, if you don't tighten this up, you're going to be kicked out of this program because it wasn't up to what they expected that level of writing to be. So I would say that would be, outside of the dissertation, that will be the greatest difference, is the level of research you'll be doing and the level of writing expertise they expect you to display.
And I'm gonna jump in on this one. I think too, what Dr. Will just said is amazingly accurate. But I think that on top of that too, in the master's degree program, I feel like they understand that you're coming from that undergraduate world, that they give you a little bit more leeway to get yourself together and get yourself into it. I feel like it's more of a growth program, to where the PhD is more of a, we're not treating you with kid gloves program, or EDD, your doctoral is less with kid gloves. And not saying master's is with kid gloves, but it is more of a, okay, we're growing you to be this academic, where your doctoral program is like, look, you're in here, you should already know what we're doing. They just kind of kick off and start running.
My master's degree is in rural and small town planning. I do not have any degrees in education, which I'm not really sure if that makes a lot of sense, considering that's pretty much what I do. But when I was in my master's program, I had to do an internship every semester. So I had hands-on every single semester. When I started working on my EDD, it was more theoretical. The professors didn't tell us what we had to write about. It was like, you're in an EDD program, figure it out yourself. And these are the 15 books we're reading this semester, pull it together and give me good quality work. So in my master's program, I was out in the trenches. In my EDD program, I was having to kind of navigate my own way. And if you can't do that, then you are going to have a difficult time in the program, and you will get frustrated very easily. Now, the professors were there to help, but there's not really a whole lot of hand-holding. They expect you to be able to figure it out and get it done in a certain amount of time. So you do have to know that you've got to figure it out and be creative and pull your thoughts together and articulate them so that you can get the grades to stay in the program. Because I'm here to tell you, a C may be acceptable in any other place, but at an EDD program, on your second C, they will send you on your way. And you've paid an awful lot of money, and you don't want that to happen.
Okay, so that's really, really helpful advice coming out here from those of you with some experience in that. One of the things I know I often think about as a classroom teacher and in other areas is if I could go back and do blank again. And I've always said that about my undergraduate degree and even a couple of the master's classes I took, right? The crystal ball, hindsight is 2020. So if you could go back and change any part of any of the degrees or experiences you've had, what would it be? What would you modify? What would you keep?
I'll
I'll
jump.
jump in. Oh, go ahead, Rochelle.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that when I applied for law school, I think I'd taken the exam to see, but you get those scores back and you really have no idea what it means. It tells you what your percentile is. And you're like, okay, is that good? Is that bad? And I let it slide. I think I was like 28 at the time. And then a couple years after that, I decided to try it again. And I got the score back and I still didn't know what it meant. And I applied. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents, my husband, anyone. I just thought, you know what? I don't want to decide someday down the road, like, I wonder what would have happened if I applied. And so I applied and I got in. And then I thought, oh, I guess I have a decision to make. But looking back on it now, I really wish that, and I'm not practicing law. I mean, I keep up the certification and people will say, oh, all that money you spent. I said, yeah, I'm paying on it for the next 20 years. But taking all of that away, the learning that I got from that, the people that I met along the way, and who knows if I would be doing what I am now had it not been for that. But looking back on it, I probably should have. I think I would go back and apply it the first time I had taken it, just a couple years earlier than that. That's like the only regret, just to have done it sooner. But, you know.
What I was going to say, I would do two things differently. One, I would get a tutor for statistics because that's what derailed my plans. But in the big scheme of things, I think that it was probably meant to be a lot of money down the drain, but that's okay. Looking back now, I don't think that I was as passionate about the program for my EDD. And so I'm a little upset that I didn't finish, but I'm not devastated because there's another program that I would like to do. Um, my initial plan was to get an EDD in curriculum studies and go into administration. Well, now that I'm an instructional tech coach, the school that I got my first two degrees from offers an EDD in school improvement with an area of emphasis in instructional technology. I would much rather do that than spend my life talking theory and stuff like that. So in the end, I suppose it all worked out. So maybe, in another year or so, I'll go back to school. I've just got to get some things wrapped up here first, but be passionate. And that's, I said that before, but I think I'm okay with where I am right now.
I think if I could go back and change anything, it would just be, I would have done it much sooner. I kind of wish I wouldn't have waited until I had a family. But the program I did, it did not have the additional administrative classes, and I wish I would have done the curriculum worked with a program that did both, having to go back and do 6 more classes instead of just doing it all at one time. So I think just making sure I'm more dutiful about finding a program that really meets my needs.
I wouldn't change anything. But what I would tell people is understand your why for getting into your program because, you're going to be plugging away from this thing, especially your doctoral program for about 4 years. So you have to know your why for why you're doing it. And also be flexible with your career plans. Because I started out in my ADD thinking I was going to work in higher ed. That was what I wanted to do that. But once I started to do informational interviews and saw that in order for me to reach a certain level, I may have to move to 4 different universities to become that vice president. Then I said, okay, I need something. I need to figure out a new plan because I didn't want to move my wife around that much. And it just so happened that Eric Schenniger gave me a shout out at a conference. And from there, I walked up to the tech director and I said, hey, give me a job. He said, I will. And that's how I got to where I am now as an instructional technologist at a school. But being open to the different possibilities and not saying, okay, because I'm getting this doctorate, higher ed is my only path, I think is great for people. Because with this degree, you will be able to find that not only can you work in K through 12 where you are and sort of move up the chain, but you can work in higher ed. You can work for Schoology and other vendors. You can work at think tanks. So I would just say know your why and be open to the possibilities of the different career opportunities available to you.
That's great advice for everybody. I love how that question kind of turned into, the tips and the tricks that you would and advice that you would give. And so kind of piggybacking, the last question from me will be, what about resources? What kind of resources could you suggest to current graduate students, people going through their master's, going through their doctorate? I'm going to throw one out there. I don't know if you guys used it. I've recently become a big fan of using EndNote. So to keep track of all of the resources that I need for my classes, my assignments, and especially the dissertation when that comes up, it allows you to kind of compile articles and things that you read, but also you can give them labels and keep them really organized. So I don't know if you guys use that, but if you do, you could talk about that a little bit, or any other resources that you think might help.
Sort of similar to one, I think you said OneNote, Dan. I can't remember. EndNote. Yeah, I've heard of EndNote. One of the things that was suggested to me upon starting my program was Mendeley, and I think I found out about it by mistake. But I have really loved being able to store your research articles inside of a program that organizes them or alphabetizes them. You can actually organize them into folders by topic, and it really has been helpful for me in order to go back and sort of annotate and then find supporting information for the writing that I've had to do up until this point. So I really love Mendeley. Mendeley.com is the name of it.
I'm going to go with the low-tech method of keeping up with stuff. I've gotten into bullet journaling lately, and I, lay out what I'm going to do for the week and for the month. And then I have lists of things that I need to do and just all kinds of things. And I find that every night when I go back and I look at it, it keeps me on track for the next day. First thing in the morning, I'm looking at it to let me know, okay, this is what I need to do. And as I'm going throughout the day, I can check things off. And as much as I love technology, it's nice to not have to rely so much on technology. So I'm finding it to be quite useful for everything that I'm doing right now.
Hi, everybody. This is Noah from Israel. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, we can hear you.
Excellent. So sorry about the darkness. It's 1 a.m. here and everybody's sleeping. So, and I'm talking very quietly. Actually, thanks. I'm very happy to be here. So actually, this is a really good topic because I myself finished my master's on using EdTech to foster creativity. And I thought about going on a PhD. But then I realized I'm very more connected to the field, teachers, and I'm a coordinator for science. And I really like working in the field instead of like reading articles and analyzing and writing, which is a different sort of thing. And my PhD supervisor said I don't have the analytical and synthetical skills to do a PhD yet. So that got me thinking about what I like and what I don't like.
We really appreciate having you here, Noah, and thank you so much for jumping in. It's great to have you join us from Israel.
Yeah, great to be here. Remind me of what A5 is again, because I was busy joining in, so I didn't read it.
Yeah, so the fifth question was about any resources that you may have to offer to anyone who is in a graduate program right now.
You probably know it, but Google Scholar just helped me a lot with my master's. way better than all the resources like search engines, educational search engines that our professors recommended. And there's an add-on to Google where you could just type like a keyword or highlight a keyword that you're reading, and then it sends you to Google Scholar, and you get all the resources there.
That is super cool. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is great. So I wanted to thank everybody on panel for such a great episode. This was a wonderful discussion and lots of great resources being shared. So if y'all have any more, then please feel free to drop them on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. So wanted to thank all of you. Thank you to Amanda and Dan for moderating, and also thank you to Dr. Will, to Rochelle, to Leslie, to Desiree, to Dean, and to Noah, to Martine, for being on panel and sharing your amazing insights. All right, so we are going to be on hiatus for the next few weeks. Next week is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to any fathers out there.
Yay, happy Father's Day.
Yay! The week after that will be at ISTE, so definitely check that out because we will be dropping our second crowdsourced book, the EduMatch Teacher's Recipe Guide. So that's going to be coming on the 25th. So stay tuned for that. You'll see it on Twitter and online. And in addition, the following week, we'll be recovering from ISTE and we'll be back on the 9th of July, where we're going to have Mr. Navas talk about maker mindset and coding. So definitely looking forward to seeing y'all there. So the chat transcript will be out in a couple minutes, and the audio will be put out as an iTunes podcast as well as on Stitcher in the next few weeks. So that's gonna be cool. So so if you're interested in joining us on panel, then just go to getconnected.edumatch.org/sign up. Matter of fact, if you go to our website, edumatch.org, and hover over podcast, you'll see all of the different things that can connect you with our podcast. In addition, you can also submit questions for panelists before the show. Just added that today. So new feature. So definitely check that out. All right, guys. Well, everyone have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and looking forward to the next episode. So have a good one.
Yeah, bye.